all sorts of questions today. A little bit on how the questions are going to work. As you saw in the bumper that just played before I came up here, we're taking questions both in person and on Discord. So the lovely Sue is over there with a microphone. Hey, oh, and a lightsaber. So if you want to line up over there, we will be taking questions in person, orderly and fashionably, please. And we will also take those on Discord for those of you who are uncomfortable in front of an audience or just need a little more help getting around. Please remember that questions are best when they are succinct and start with who, what, where, when, why, and how. And the worst questions start with I, and me. Okay? Sound good? All right. Well, with that, I think we need to meet the real stars of this panel. So please make some noise for Natasha Lou Bordizzo. Hello. All right. That's fun, yeah. All right. We also have coming up to the stage from The Mandalorian, Giancarlo Esposito. Next up from the Book of Boba Fett, the world's best ranker keeper. Say hello to Danny Trejo! Welcome. And of course, from the Acolytes, star of the Acolyte and all of the memes. Say hello to Manny Jacinto! Well, let's give our crowd a big DragonCon welcome, please, everybody. And I will start with the first question before we get to our line here, and of course the obvious. How are you enjoying DragonCon so far this year?
Having a blast!
Mandy, I heard backstage this is your first DragonCon, or your first con?
It is my first one, yeah. It's an honor. It's a huge honor to be here.
Well, welcome. All right, well, we're going to jump right into the Q&A with our first question. So let's go ahead and go on out to the line. Hello, welcome. And let us know your name and your question.
Hi, my name is Heather. Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here. So, Manny, I have a question for you. It's actually a good place question.
Okay, no worries. Mortals!
So, obviously the first season was so fantastic. It ended with that big twist at the end of the first season. I'm always so very curious when you, the actors, knew about the twist. Like, when you were silent all that time, did you know that your character had a secret and that there was the "where you think you are" situation?
For the first season, sorry?
Right, so during the first season, before the big reveal at the end of the first season,
Yes.
did you, the actors, know that you were not where you thought you were?
I had no idea. Probably for the best, because I would have been fired for spoiling the whole thing. Because I'm a really bad liar. But no, probably for the best. I had no idea that we were actually in the bad place all along. I actually thought that Kristen and Ted were going to be leaving and we're going to be taking over the show, but that obviously didn't happen either. But yeah, it was for the best because it was a twist that I didn't even see coming. And I'm glad that a lot of people got to have that exact same experience. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. We're going to go to the Discord for our next question. And again, if you happen to forget where you were today on Saturday, with everything that's been going on at DragonCon, we're in the channel Marriott Atrium. That's where we are right now if you want to ask your question. We have a question from Weird Girl 07. I'm going to change this a little bit to ask our entire panel, what was the favorite part? What was your favorite part about playing your character? Natasha, can we start with you on that one?
Probably getting to use a saber and a blaster at the same time. Yeah. Pretty sick.
For me, it was playing a character who has the iconic line, "Assume I know everything." When you play someone who somehow knows about all that's going on and intercepts information, you don't know how he gets it, and is ahead of everyone else to be able to formulate these plans, it's very exciting because something is held back from the audience. And that creates a certain type of anticipation and a certain expectation. People don't know what he's thinking or what he's doing. So that was one of the favorite characteristics of Moff Gideon that I felt I had a chance to play. The other, coupled with that, you start to see that he has the ability to wield the Darksaber, fly his own TIE fighter. So he's someone that you kind of go, where did he come from? How did he learn all that? And then he sort of commands a certain kind of attention. So to me, that was a very exciting thing to play.
Danny, how about you?
Hi. My name is Danny Trejo, and it's funny, when I first got started in film in 1985, I never actually had a name. I was like, mean Mexican. Mexican with tattoos. Mexican in jail. Mean Mexican in jail with tattoos. And I worked in 30 years, and so, 3 years ago, whenever I got a chance to be on Star Wars, I was Rancor Keeper. And I know what's my name, Rancor Keeper. So we're back to that, Mexican Rancor Keeper. God, I love it. I love working, especially in this. It was cool. And I think they tied into the future of movie making with these episodes of Star Wars.
Well, I think to many of us, you are iconic Rancor Keeper. Am I right?
Yeah.
And Manny, how about you?
Oh man, how do I follow that up? Every part of this character of Chimera / the Stranger / whoever he might have been was a special experience. I think I always go to the physical aspect of the Stranger, being able to do those lightsaber fights, even though I hated that mask as much as I did. Not being able to see, it was a lovely dance to do. The acting in itself, it was a plethora of different characters that I can really dive into. And yeah, it was a role of a lifetime. Thanks to all those in this film and everybody involved.
Let's go back to the audience for our next question.
Hi, my name is Caitlin. My question is, for all the young, inspiring actors out there, what advice would you give?
Don't do it.
That's what George C. Scott said to me when I was 13 years old, doing a play at the Ears Theater called Seesaw. He was doing Uncle Vanya. He snuck up behind me and put his arm around my neck, leaned his whole body on me, and I think he'd had a few, because it was in the theater bar afterwards. And he said, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Unless you really have to." And I never forgot those words, because because I immediately, knew exactly what it meant. For those of us who are in the creative arts and acting, performing, dancing, singing, poetry, whatever you pursue and you fall in love with, and no matter what level you do it on, if you are a creative artist, it's hard not to do it. So you should just do it. I think life is a creative process that unfolds for us if we follow our dreams. And if you follow your dream and it unfolds for you, that means there's something about it that's healing your personality. There's something about it that you need, so that you shouldn't ignore that. And it will, that gut sense that you have, that you're drawn to as if you are a moth drawn to flame, that will redeem you, that will free you. You'll know if that's your life and that's what you should and are supposed to be doing, because it'll bear fruit. And sometimes we think bearing fruit is financial success, stardom, working every single day all the time. Sometimes that fruit is your inner happiness. Sometimes it's your inner imagination being allowed, being unleashed and being free and allowed to soar. And so the judgment on what success is that's what lies inside of you as your judgment of yourself. Success is happiness. Success is to be in joy, wonder, and organic truth. That's what success is. So I would say to you, as my personal advice would be to follow your heart.
That's a very good answer that's very difficult to follow, but I do want to open that. Does anyone else have any advice for our aspiring young actors out there?
I would say that, yeah, it's hard to follow that up, but specifically to acting, I think if it can take up a space in your life where booking jobs doesn't equal your self-worth, then maybe, because I wish it was a meritocracy, but it's not, and I think there's so many hardworking young actors out there who just don't find the right role for whatever reason, a range of reasons, and it's not fair. And I think that as long as it can be in this part of your life where you're filled up, your cup is filled from so many other areas, then sure.
Let's go ahead and take our next audience question.
Hi, this question is for all of you. What's the most memorable audition you've ever been on, good or bad?
The most memorable audition you've ever been on, good or bad? Danny, I'm dying to start with you on this one. The most memorable audition you ever had, good or bad?
Mine? Good or bad? Damn. I can't remember audition. Usually, when I first got started in this, I was the bad guy. Film bad. They kind of know what they're getting when they see my picture. Hey, there's a good babysitter, you know. So it's kind of like I made friends with typecasting a long time ago, you know, because I went from job to job to job to job and worked all the time, and finally I got interviewed by this little girl from fresh out of interview school or something. And she said, Danny, don't you feel you're being typecast? And I said, I don't know, what are you talking about? She said, well, you're always playing the mean Chicano dude with tattoos. I am the mean Chicano. The first 3 years of my career, I never had a shirt on. Every time I walk on the set, oh yeah, take the shirt off. So in fact, the first film that I was ever in that I actually wore a suit was a movie called Death Wish 4 with Charles Bronson. I got to meet Charles Bronson, and I was Art Sinella. And I said, well, Sinella's not making it. Just shut up, you're Italian. So, I didn't care, and I still don't typecast me or just show up. I'll play a tree if you want me to.
Man, the bags on there.
I played like a good uncle, like this. With Spy Kids. And then in Storks, I played Jasper the Stork. That's why.
All right, well, I'm going to head on over to Manny with the question about the auditions, good or bad. Manny.
You know what? I don't know. It's like those auditions. I stopped doing auditions like a long time ago. But usually, a good casting director already knows what he wants. And when I would walk in, they kind of, that's it. Me looking
Perfect. Mr. Jacinto, do you have a story? Good or bad audition? I'll be good.
But so it was just like that. I walk in and
you know what?
you're the guy.
Clap if you can't get enough of Danny. Clap. But I do want to make sure we get all the variety of the answers to the question. So Mr. Jacinto.
That's okay to be true.
Oh my God.
I don't joke. Oh.
Yes. Thank you, Dan, for sharing that. Okay. Worst audition or best? This kind of goes back to that previous question of
Mean guy, which one?
It goes back to the advice of, what would you give to younger actors? I remember, I'll try and make this story quick. I had an audition for a comedy, and I went in there, and it was really, really bad. And it went to the point where the casting director stopped me in the middle of the audition, and she said, "You do know that this is a comedy, right?" And it really hit me pretty hard, and I was like, "I'm a shit actor. I shouldn't be doing this." And I had to reassess myself. But then I was like, you know what? I picked myself back up, and I studied more comedy and read the books and whatnot. And a week later, lo and behold, it was The Good Place. And I will kid you not, if I did not go through that sucky audition, I wouldn't have gotten The Good Place. So you really make up your own experiences, you learn from your mistakes, and don't take those no's, because those no's can turn into yeses. So yeah.
Let's go ahead and take our next fan question in line.
Sorry, you caught us sleeping.
I'm Eddie. This is for Giancarlo Esposito. Big fan, by the way. Just wanted to ask, who was the most fun to work with on The Mandalorian?
Oh, so many great actors, but I had a really good time in the fight scene with Cara Dune. That was really a blast because she's bigger than I am, so I had to take some hits. But I really enjoyed working with Bo-Katan, working with Katie Sackhoff. Yeah, we had a lot to do, and so it was really nice to have moments with her. But my favorite character to work with was Grogu. Literally, Baby Yoda was, when I first met Baby Yoda, I was walking on the set with Jon Favreau on the way to the volume, and there was a desk with a canvas over little, then we were calling it the child. We hadn't really even gotten, they hadn't got to name it Baby Yoda yet. And he said, "Oh, you want to see the child?" And I said, "Yeah, of course." And he stripped the canvas off, and there's little, Baby Yoda standing there looking at me. And right at that moment, auspiciously, the puppeteer was walking by and said, "Do you want to have an interaction?" And I went, "Yeah." And so all of a sudden, the baby's, Grogu's eyes opened, and his little ears moved, and his little hands moved, and I turned to John and I said, "Wow." He said, "Yeah, we were talking a lot about CGI and this, that, and the other, and we wanted to really make it real." And I looked again and I said, this baby is the star of the show." And John paused and took a breath and crossed his arms and scratched his head. And he went, "You think so?" And I said, "I know so." And the rest is history. Thank you.
We're going to take our next question from Discord, and Natasha, I'll start with you on this one, asking which different Star Wars character would you like to play? I mean, Star Wars is a vast universe, right? So Captain Mayhem wants to know which different Star Wars character would you like to play if you could pick any, except the one you played, sorry. I know we got to take out the easy answer, sorry.
I said this at another convention once, kind of as a joke, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. It doesn't exist, but I kind of want to play Thrawn's jester. You know what I mean? He's royalty, and he needs a joker or something, right? And I don't know, I just feel like I'd be really good at it.
Woo! Love that. Danny, I'm curious for you. You mentioned, you talked a very serious bit about typecasting, but if you got to pick, you could be anyone in Star Wars you want to be. Who would you be?
Han Solo.
I love that.
But you know what, I gotta tell you this. They showed me that little Yoda. And first they told me, this cost $2 million. Want to hold it? Hell no. But it was unbelievable, is what he said. It was just unbelievable. They were like this whole little thing, even the raincoat. I think the Star Wars movie is like the future of movie making, because they had a screen, a green screen that was actually alive. I mean, it worked, So it's an amazing. Get ready for that. I think next couple of years, I don't know, you're gonna be watching television, car on the front windshield. The car will drive by itself.
Thank you so much. Let's go. Thank you. Yes, please. Let's go to another question from Discord, and this one's for Manny, okay? This one's for you. And I think we just have to address this. A lot of people want to know this. How do you feel about all of the edits made out of you? CP Shorty is asking, basically, the internet. How do we feel about what the internet's done with this?
The internet is a very weird place.
Yeah, get ready.
Hashtag arms.
All right, you're welcome, Internet. Yeah, all right. Actually, see control.
Yeah, again, I've said this before, I can't take all the credit. I give a lot of credit to baby oil. Baby oil and wet hair. All the credit to them. But it's very flattering. I'm very flattered. And I can't say anything else without embarrassing myself, so thank you.
Let's go ahead and go to our next audience question. Hello.
Hi.
Do you have a favorite martial arts move?
Do you have a favorite martial arts move?
I grew up doing Taekwondo, so probably just a backward spinning kick, you know?
Oh, just a backwards.
Mandy, you were talking a lot about doing martial arts as your character, the lightsaber fights. Was there anything particular you liked?
Yeah, oh man. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, I think we did maybe one or two spinning back kicks. But I mean, this isn't a martial arts move, and I'm so sorry to Charlie Barnett who played York, but I really love cracking his neck. So yeah, that's it.
All right, let's go to our next question in the audience.
Hi guys. Question for the panel. We've been watching you guys for a long time. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Once Upon a Time, Dusk Till Dawn, Good Place, Congrats on getting Mech Jacked. These are all very real world places. Now you guys have powers, abilities, a position, swinging around Darksaber, knowing everything, the Force. What has it been like moving into Star Wars? How's it been getting to Star Wars?
I want to make sure I understand the question. So does this boil down to how is Star Wars different from other roles that they've in their vast resumes? Okay.
Yes, I would say.
Okay, just want to make sure I understood. Okay, so how has Star Wars been different from other roles in your resume? Giancarlo, I have to go to you with this one.
Well, you're entering, an iconic franchise that, most of the time the fans know more than you do. In today's day and age, with watermark scripts and security, and not wanting to allow any information to get out or seep out to be a spoiler, you know very little when you're shooting it. But you know you're entering a franchise that's bigger than you are. And what I love about the Star Wars universe, and in my position in The Mandalorian, is that it's dealing with the mythological stories that, in a way, shape our imaginations and guide us to know and to figure out, what's right and wrong and what's right for all and how to lead the people and all of those big cultural movements that we go through in our own lives are reflected in this world. So you want to do it justice, and you want to be able to extend that mythological charm of these stories. And so, for me, to understand what a Moff was, to understand who's played a Moff before, to understand the iconography of my costume, which really played into Darth Vader being reincarnated, without the helmet to begin with. Then I started to get and understand the largesse of the person I was playing. And so to me, it's different than anything I've ever done before, because it also allowed me to be unjaded, to be a child again, to have fun, to command the room, to walk in and own the space, So I love that because it allows me to be bigger than I normally would think to be in my life. And that's also a reflection of how we should think in our lives, to become that large and commanding of our own spirit. Because that's what we have. That's what guides and leads us. That's what is the clue to having confidence, even if you don't. Act as if. fake the funk until you got it, baby.
Danny, what you have obviously been iconic in so many movies and films as well. What makes Star Wars special?
You know what? It is just the future of movie making. Everything they're doing with the camera, with the damn Rancor breathe. I'm sitting next to this giant Rancor, and it's going. And I hope this thing don't bite me. I mean, it's like, so everything, it's not, they keep pushing things further than the limit. And that goes all the way back to the first one. And now it is like I said, it's like that little green guy. It's like, I mean, it's $2 billion. And they're not wasting any money and this thing is like, it's almost like I did the Muppets, No, but wait. But if you get close to Kermit and he starts talking to you, you start talking back. And pretty soon you forgot you're talking to a puppet. But now you've got this other little guy that has taken it even further. He'll wink and he'll breathe. So it's this whole other genre of movie making.
Exactly.
Oh, real.
I don't know if you guys really get it. You're in a room that's 3 times as large as this, and the ceiling is 3 times as tall. And the whole ceiling, if you looked up and all these lights were there, they'd all be cameras. And then they wheel in like the TIE Fighter, for example. And the TIE Fighter that I had to climb was at ceiling height. And they put up a scaffold and a ladder, and I had to climb up and balance, and there's no net. It's like you're in the frickin' circus. And then the whole ceiling starts to move, right? It's not, CGI. It's right in the room. The whole ceiling curves, the horizon curves, your whole equilibrium is really weird. And so, it changes your perspective on what you're doing within the space, right? We're in a space, and that space is a committed space that's empty other than a set piece and you.
Yeah.
And so you're getting this whole feel. They can put you in the desert. They can put you, in the ocean. They can put you anywhere. And you have to then act. So you become the mirror. Your eyes become the mirror for the audience to see how it works over you. And it's like an amazing thing. That's how, and what you're saying, Danny, is so great, because when I had my scene where I had Grogu in the handcuffs, and I'm waving the Darksaber in front of him, those lines were all improvised because I was talking to this puppet, and he's moving his ears. And he's reaching out for the Darksaber, and I said, oh, no. You're liable to lose an eye. That was an improvised line. I'm in a whole world with this little child. It's fantastic.
Thank you both. I'm going to do a quick question from Discord before we go back to the audience. And this question is for Natasha, from Molly Mander, who wants to know, what was your first impression of the zombie troopers in Ahsoka?
Creepy stuff. And they added all that green vapor around them in the show, which made it even creepier. One of them threw me up on the wall and choked me against it. It was crazy. I think that it adds a different element for sure. The zombie troopers with that witchcraft, it takes you to even more of a different universe, because suddenly we're very much not in the same place, and there's different powers at that be. So I was really excited when I read it. I had no idea how it would come together, but I love that it is within that samurai kind of theme that Ahsoka really takes on, where it's kind of based on that Japanese art of mending things with gold. mending ceramics with gold. So that was also part of the zombie trooper aesthetic, and it's just really cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Great. Let's do one more quick question from Discord and then I'll go back to the line. Exalkian, I hope I said that right, has a question for Manny, who wants to know, you've done a few different voice acting roles at this point, but one of your first was Belle. What was it like working on a project like that versus on screen acting?
I can show up in my pajamas. Yeah, it's easier, obviously, just because you can read off the page. But it reminded me of doing theater because you really have to inhabit the character for the voice to come off, and there's a fine line between overacting and bad acting. So yeah, I mean, it's so fun. It's the most fun you can do while still being in comfortable pants. So I highly recommend if anybody would like to be a voice actor. But yeah, it's another fun aspect of this industry, and hopefully I'll get to do it more.
Thank you for that. We're going to go back to the audience for our next question.
My name is Richard. This question is for the whole panel. What's one aspect of your performance, an acting choice or similar, that was you as opposed to a dictate of either the script or the director?
All right, what was one element of your character that was you as opposed to something that was directed or something like that? Natasha, I see you smiling. Is that something coming to mind?
I was just thinking about when I watched the show back in Sydney, in Australia, with my dad and some of my childhood friends, and there'd be a scene where like Sabine's particularly annoyed, and they're all like, "I know that face."
Giancarlo, you talked about improvising. Is there elements of you in your character?
I think that's the moment where I got playful. Because I felt like I was unthreatened, even though there were men outside the door and they were threatening to come in. But in that moment with Grogu, I felt unthreatened. I felt like I can talk to this little puppet like it's a child, and that to me was very freeing because it was probably one of the moments where you see Moff Gideon a little bit lighter, and then he flips later on in the same scene. That's why I did that. Was to have a little fun and lighten them up and then get serious again. They say that acting is taking the best and leaving the rest. And if you can think of it that way, you're allowed to be freed up so you don't become one note. So you can have different emotions at different times. Equally so at the end when there's a Jedi banging on the door and I'm in handcuffs and they didn't tell me. There's no clue who that Jedi was going to be or what that was. They're just kind of force or a power that's coming. I that look of fear, I had to create. What is my worst nightmare coming after me right now? For a guy who's all powerful and has all the strength and is never threatened. So that vulnerability shows through. And so for me, characters have to have all of that. And that's an important thing to embody, so that you have a sense that the character is human, which is reflective of all of us, which I think, I want to play someone human with real emotions. That becomes very, very important to me. Look, it was the same conversation when, in our final episode, or the second to last episode I appeared, Moff Gideon says, he was after something he's always wanted. And they cut the line off. And I just really knew that what the rest of the line was. So I stopped shooting for a minute and I said, "Hey, can we bring John in?" John came down and started scratching his head and folds his arm as he does, that typical John Favreau thing. And I said, "John, I can finish this sentence. Why don't we finish this sentence?" "Well, I think we did in the script, didn't we?" I said, "Well, I would imagine you would have. Let's call Dave Filoni down." I think Dave's out walking his dog. So, outside the studio, they track Dave down. Dave comes back. We have a 45-minute conversation, about it. And I said, he should be saying what I've always wanted, the Force. And I said, why didn't he just say that? You know, that's really what he's always wanted. And 45 minutes we start talking about a sequel for Moff Gideon. I was standing there amazed. The crew walked away. We're standing in the huddle around the set. I'm wearing all this heavy armor. And David just might be a great idea if we had Moff Gideon leave and come back and he's somebody else. He goes, no, he's Moff Gideon and blah, blah, blah. And I started laughing and I said, this is how you guys create the show? Like, basically, yes. So again, it taught me a lesson to be loose, flexible, and free because that is what imagination does. And it's really wonderful. I was commending them on how they can be that loose, to be able to figure out all these pieces, get back, and they finally said, yeah, save the course, it's fine, it's going to be great, and we'll think about a sequel. Yeah, I love it. Sure. Long live the Empire!
Disney sucks.
All right, y'all, don't bring that fight. Come on now, it's Dragon Con. Nothing but love. All right, let's go to our next audience question.
Hello, I'm Brian.
Oh, I'm on camera.
I do a Mandalorian cosplay, and I saw somewhere that Anthony Daniels said he used some of his mining background to bring C-3PO to life. As actors who wear helmets that obscure your vision, how do you cope wearing it, and how does it affect your performance? Side note, Danny Trejo is the best Rancor trainer in the galaxy.
So if you don't mind, I'm gonna simplify your question a little bit so everybody can answer it, and I'm just gonna say, how does the costume that you wear alter your performance when you're in a very elaborate costume? How does that costume, if you don't mind me taking some liberties there, but how does that costume affect your performance? I think we might have hit the power button accidentally. There we go.
I think it's just kind of like, you know, okay, you look like a Rancor keeper. And I didn't have any idea, you know, I found out I was going to do that a couple of days before. And I just come in from out of town. And it was kind of a surprise. And then when Robert Rodriguez kind of said, well, let's do this. And I put on this uniform, and I thought, okay, well, you know, I'm definitely not going to waltz. And then when you have to understand, playing with a Rancor, you know, you're trying to keep your kind of perspective that this is like, this thing can eat you. You know what I mean? And playing with Tamara, who I've done a couple of films with, was just a lot of fun, you know. And so you got to take the whole thing serious, but you got to like kind of keep your head, you know, about the whole thing, because you can get too. I don't know how to say it. It's like. I was in love with these Rancor, but you can't like overplay it, you know. And it seemed like that scene came out really well with all the people in it, you know. There's 3 of us, 4 of us, and I think I'm going to do some more. Robert Rodriguez, hurry up. He directed that episode.
All right, thank you so much for that question. Let me go to a question from Discord. This one's for Manny. This question is about the Acolyte, and it's from one Lou16 who wants to know, what was your favorite scene to act in the Acolyte? You were great on the show, by the way.
Thank you. My favorite scene, so many. I think the scene where he gets first introduced in the mask is my favorite scene. When he floats down from the cliff and creeps his way over to OSHA. We actually filmed that in reverse. to give a feeling of something that just was disturbing, and we wanted it to feel very uncanny, as one would describe it. And yeah, that was my intro. And I remember our showrunner, Leslie Headland, had some beautiful words and just wanted to thank everybody, and mainly wanted to thank the world for not spoiling what the mask looked like, because it was a very special moment. So yeah, a lot of feelings during those scenes, and definitely one of the ones that I'll remember for a really long time.
Tasha, I'm curious about maybe you have a favorite scene with your character too.
I do. It's my first saber fight with Shin. What can I say? You know, our characters. It's a lot of fun, and it was the first time that I held a saber. We shot that scene 3 nights in a row. Lots of coffee. And it was just it just felt like one long slumber party with sabers. And yeah, it was just awesome. That was my favorite.
Let's head back to the audience for our next question.
Hi, my name is Derek, and I have a question for Giancarlo. I know we've already had a lot of questions about memes, but Giancarlo, are you aware of all the memes that have been made about your characters in Breaking Bad and other productions like Payday? And if so, which one is your favorite?
There's so many. My kids always send me bunches of them from Breaking Bad. I like them all. I'm not familiar with them all, so for me to choose a favorite, can't say. I mean, I don't know if I can say. Is there one that is similar that says something like, you sleep to rest, I sleep to go to other realms? I think I'm probably paraphrasing, but that's one of my favorites.
All right. Let's go back to the audience for our next question.
Hi, my name is Michael, and I just wanted to first say thank you guys for all that you've done. And even outside of college, I think you guys continue to do I just love it, especially today. So, my question for you guys is, by playing these characters and embracing them, how would you like their adventure to continue, no matter what point it comes in?
I think that cut out a little bit. Am I correct in understanding that you're asking, no matter what the fate of the character is, how would you like to see your character story continue? Is that appropriate?
Yes.
Okay, let's go with that then. So, no matter what the fate is of your character, how would you like to see your character story continue? Danny, I would have loved to see more than one episode. What would the series of the Rancor Keeper look like?
I don't know. They just kind of like voted. We did that, and Rancor's got to come back because Wolf Fett's riding.
You ride. You're a low rider, baby.
Well, I'm waiting for that. Put lifts on that sucker.
All right. Anyone else want to share where their character?
I want to live. It was a fucking clone. Make it true. So voted B. So when I came back from last season of Mandalorian, I got in my costume and I felt very powerful. I had one great costume that was mobile and movable, but looked really high and tight. I went to military school when I was younger, so I have a real sense of that militaristic kind of feeling and look. And then when I came back and had this armor that was specially made, that I could only move so much in, I had to let the armor lead the way. And it made me feel extremely powerful, extremely upright. He was kind of had my shoulders back, so there's no way that I could slouch, which gave me a very powerful position in my mind, which was really, really wonderful. And the one thing I didn't have was a mustache. And Jon Favreau comes down and looks at me, on the volume, and he immediately looks at me, crosses his arms, scratches his head again. That's what he does. He goes, so, no mustache? And I didn't even know where the storyline was going. And I looked at it without pause, without fail, in a completely commanding voice, and I said, no. Yeah, I pulled a Gus Spring on his ass. So he then paused for a moment, and he gave me a look with his eyes, and I said, oh, you want to know why? I said, so the guy's been away for a while in prison on some desert freaking island. He came back, and if you noticed, I not only didn't have a mustache, I also had a different haircut, right? So the dude, it's a passage of time, Jon. He comes back, hair is different, no mustache, he's armed for bear, he's got new armor, and Jon went, yeah, okay, that makes sense, it makes sense. And then when the clone episode came up, I said, yes, this is gonna pay off dividends in the end.
All right, we are running a little low on time, so I'm going to try to get through just a couple more questions. I'm so sorry, there's so many great questions in Discord, and I know there's a big line. I'm not going to be able to get everybody, so sorry about that, but let's see if we can get just a couple more in here. So our next audience question, please.
Hi, I'm Rachel, longtime fan, first time talking to a celebrity, so hi. My question is to the whole panel, and what do you think is the greatest temptation or reason to join the dark side?
What is the greatest temptation to join the dark side? I feel like, I'm not going to say nothing, but I feel like I want to start with Manny on this one, just for no particular reason. Manny, hypothetically, what might be a reason to join the dark side?
This is not from me, but it was from a pin that was given to me today. And it says, come join the dark side. We have hot guys.
Hot guys and chin. So.
All right, let's see if we can squeeze in one more audience question here, and I'll get another Discord question to wrap us up.
Hello, my name is Charles. I appreciate all the great work you do in the Star Wars universe franchise and everyone else. My question is, what is the funniest outtake that you've ever experienced in the Star Wars franchise, or like show or movie?
What is the funniest outtake that you ever experienced in the Star Wars franchise? Now, Danny, did you have any funny outtakes from your time on the show? Any funny outtakes in working, with all the...
Any fun outtakes? No.
Nailed it. I'll take it.
Outtakes aren't fun. That means you screwed up. No, you know what? I don't. It was just. I love doing that. That whole Rancor, especially for me, because it's. There's like traditional kind of stuff. Good guy, bad guy, winners, and this isn't. This is like an episodic. I don't know. I just want to say episodic. This is kind of like a new stuff. The minute I got on that set, and I started looking around at the Rancor and the what do you call it? The green screen is not. You're playing with the green screen. You're not. There's stuff there. It's not like it's green. There's stuff going on there.
Okay, one too many blows to the head.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to take one more question here from Discord to close this out. I'll pitch this to Giancarlo. This question is from A. Roberts, who asks, where do you see the Star Wars franchise in 10 years?
it's been rediscovered at the moment now, and so many of us are on different wonderful shows. I have a feeling that, as in the MCU, that Disney will figure out how to join all of these characters into one really great movie or TV show. That's my sense of where it will go. For a while, it went up, it got flat a little bit, but Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have a new vision, continuing on with the Mandalorian movie, and they have a sense of, Dave is a genius in the sense of all the characters who are intertwined in this universe. And my sense is that it's all going to converge at one point or another, and we're going to have another set of great trilogy or more of films. That's where I think it's going to go.
Thank you so much. All right, well, on behalf of Dragon Con, I just want to remind everybody, don't forget you can tell us what you thought about today's panel in the app. Don't forget to rate us in the discussion we had today and let us know if you want to see everybody on this panel back next year. Please help me thank our panelists today. Jenny, Giancarlo, Natasha. Have an amazing rest of your Dragon Con. I was Rob Roberts. It was an honor to moderate today. Take care, everybody. Happy Dragon Con.
Thank you.